I understand that they're an 0-8 football team and has faced a lot of adversity, but this is the National Football League. You know, there are no FCS games, there are no Group of Five games, there are no homecomings. Each and every week, man, you're up against it against paid professionals, guys that I have a lot of respect for and capabilities, both coaches and players.
Hi everybody, I'm Missi Matthews. Welcome to the Matchup Show presented by Unibet, getting you ready for Steelers and Lions at Heinz Field Sunday, a 1 o'clock kick. To preview the matchup, let's welcome in our panelists. We have Bob Labriola of Steelers.com and Steelers Digest, also agreed to disagree. Former Steelers offensive lineman, my partner on the sidelines, Max Starks, and the guy who's now up in the booth, nice and warm, safe from the elements, Craig Wolfley. We have a lot of O-line talk, so we got two great experts here, but Labs, an 0-8 Lions team coming here to Heinz Field, coming off of their bye, as Coach Tomlin hammered in his press conference on Tuesday. I know you live in your fears. What scares you most about this Lions team?
Well, Missy, I'll tell you what, I think that the Lions statistics are worse than the actual team. I mean, you look at the Lions and they seem to be doing a lot of the things that losing teams do. They're minus in the turnover ratio. They're not very good in the red zone. You look at their other rankings, they're really not ranked in the top 10 in the NFL in any significant offensive or defensive category. They're bad in the red zone. But then you watch that game that they played against the Ravens. They could have and should have beaten Baltimore if it were not for a missed delay of game penalty, that 66-yard field goal that Justin Tucker kicked to win the game that bounced over the crossbar, would never even have made it far enough to hit the crossbar. And, now you're looking at a team, beating the Ravens is beating the Ravens. It just doesn't happen that often. And a team that doesn't play the Ravens that often, that can play them that well, and as I said, should have beaten them, you can't take them lightly.
Max, in terms of inside the Steelers locker room, we heard what Coach Tomlin kind of set the tone, the message, it's not homecoming. They're still nameless gray faces. They get paid too. What are the players saying heading into this matchup?
I think the biggest thing is that this is an opportunity, right? Especially in the offensive line room. This is an opportunity for us to get back on track. We have a team that's not great against the run that we can exploit, and we need to do that. And if I'm at Canada, I need to listen to what guys in the locker room are saying is run the ball, figure out ways to get us an opportunity to run the ball. Don't motion. Let's just go make it nice and nasty, and let's just hit them right in the mouth, and let's just start from start to finish playing a complete 60 minutes, because that's another thing we haven't seen. When are we going to get our complete game, guys? When you look around the locker room, we need to play from first quarter to fourth quarter and not have that lull in the middle on this 4-game winning streak. They've won 4 games, but they haven't played a complete game. So that's what you want to see. Can we actually play great team football for 60 minutes?
Well, if the Steelers offensive line, I think, felt really good about their performance coming out of Cleveland with that win. Probably not so great this week, squeaking out the win against the Bears. Coach Tomlin acknowledged they took a small step back. So what are you seeing from this unit and what they need to do better this week?
What I'd love to be able to say is, look, fellas, this is how it is. We're back to basics. That's a Chuck Noll idea about coming back. When you get a little whipped in your physicality, he would go back to basics. Now, you can't do it anymore. The NFL Players Association would just go bonkers, and it would be all kind of chaos. But what you can do is you can just remind the guys what they did to get where they are. The hard work, the essential steps that they took, things of that nature, like making sure that, number one, guys, let's have a thick face and a black heart, all right? Be immune to criticism and give no quarter and ask no quarter. Then run block the way we did. We moved people. Let's get back to making sure we're moving people at the point of attack. And step 3 would be simply, listen, let's pass protect like your child is playing quarterback, all right? You do that, and you do that at a fervor, at an intensity that ratchets the whole thing up in your gourd. And that's what I think is essential. Come back and regroup and do the things that got you to the point you're at. And like Max said, I think this is going to be a great opportunity to get after the Lions with the running game and be able to put a nice fist in the face type of deal and get after it, because this could be with the gap blocking, the man blocking scheme. It's going to be good, a good opportunity.
Max, what did you see from the Steelers' offensive line performance on Monday night? And, as Wolf touched on, Coach Tomlin said not winning the line of scrimmage.
Well, I just think that there was a lot of misdirection. Guys, Matt Canada has the propensity to do a lot of motions ahead of time, right? A lot of misdirection, a lot of pre-snap motions. And we've noticed when the Steelers' offensive line has struggled, it's been because of the pre-snap motion, right? The mic is not the mic that I saw at the beginning. And so I think the biggest thing is try and eliminate as much of that motion as possible. Keep guys a little bit more stationary, get them into a groove, because we saw they never quite got comfortable. Yes, Najee made lemonade out of lemons, but there was an easier way to do it. When you start getting into outside zones and hitting the edges, that's when there's more gaps. And Hakeem Nicks, Robert Quinn and company, Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, all these guys were able to penetrate on those gaps when you run wide zones. Keep it nice and tight in the box. Like Wolf said, man blocking, gap blocking, inside zone, things that create a north and south motion as opposed to an east and west motion for this offense. And that gives the guys the confidence to go out there and fight, which is what they did in Cleveland.
Labs, in terms of blocking, I know Pat Freiermuth was your Digest player of the game, 2 touchdowns. We're seeing that chemistry with Ben Roethlisberger. What do you feel like is the next step for the rookie tight end?
Well, I think that what he's doing is he's really building a trust with the quarterback because, regardless of what the play is called in the huddle and the way it's drawn up and who might be the primary receiver and all that other stuff, the guy with the football in his right hand in the pass pocket, as the pass rush is starting to surround him, he's the guy who decides who the primary receiver is. So I think that Pat Freiermuth's ability to make plays, those couple in the end zone that he made, that diving catch he made on the final drive to get Boswell those last 13 yards that he maybe needed for that game-winning field goal, he is establishing himself, at least in the quarterback's mind, in my opinion, as reliable and dependable. And so I think that that will be a natural, lead to a natural progression of their relationship. And, I don't want to lay the Heath Miller thing on Freiermuth. I don't think it's fair. But just in referencing the relationship that Ben had with the tight end when it was Heath, I think that Pat Freiermuth is slowly moving in that direction with the quarterback as well.
All right, guys, it is time now to take a look at our Week 10 opening lines presented by Unibet, across the league and official sportsbook partner Unibet of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you're in Pennsylvania and you're ready to place your wagers on any of this weekend's matchups, just download the Unibet PA app or simply visit pa.unibet.com. Still much more to come here on the Matchup Show. We're going to talk a little Steelers defense. Can TJ Watt and Cam Hayward keep up their stellar production throughout the second half of the season? We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Matchup Show presented by Unibet. Let's talk about the Steelers defense now as they prepare for the 0-8 Lions. Labs, sticking those specifically with what the Steelers can do better, chunk play, something that we saw carry into the second half against the Bears. How do they eliminate those?
Well, I think that one of the things that we saw Monday night, and Alex Highsmith kind of ratted himself out in a media briefing earlier this week, I didn't think he played particularly well. Or let me say this, he had some breakdowns. I'm not saying he didn't play well throughout the game, but there were some certain situations where I think maybe he was out of position a little bit, maybe could have done a little bit more in terms of, getting after Justin Fields, because, to me anyway, the plan seemed to be okay if you regarded Justin Fields the way he had played to that point in the season. I mean, we had not seen Justin Fields stand in the pocket and deliver the ball to his receivers with the timeliness and accuracy with which he did Monday night. Over the middle to the tight end, Cole Kmet, down the sidelines to both Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney. I think Justin Fields really showed why, for the first time maybe in his NFL career, why he was picked so highly. So you got to give him some credit for that. But again, I just think that the Steelers could have done a better job of keeping him in the pocket, and maybe trying to force him into the things that he had shown he had not done well to that point.
Max, DeAndre Swift, TJ Hawkinson, some of their leading receivers. What do the Steelers defense need to do to defend these guys this week?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is going to be you can't lose sight of them. You can't get lost in the fray. You've got to have that one guy that's going to, quote unquote, you'd say spying a running back, but you have to have a guy that's manning that running back, I think, in a lot of situations. And then when there is zones, make sure that you are vocal in your pass offs. When he's running some of your more swing related type of things in the backfield, make sure that safety can key him, or that linebacker can key him. But then when he actually lines up as a slot receiver, you have to make sure that you have a guy that's going to be able to keep up with him and be cognizant, because DeAndre Swift is that guy that can make a difference in this offense. When Jared Goff is under pressure, Jared's not the most mobile guy in the world. So you need to make sure that you're watching all the support guys. TJ Hawkinson's another one. You've got to make sure that you don't allow the tight end to take advantage of the game and control the middle of the field against Schobert, Spillane, and Bush. You've got to make sure that you're butting him at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be there to help out because the offensive line's not doing great right now. And you've got to continually apply pressure. And I think what Bob said earlier with how they treated Justin in the second half and he started shredding them, guys started getting lazy on their assignments, right? You started knifing back to the inside of the offensive line, not keeping your contained lanes, because we saw when he made a lot of his great plays, he was bouncing out of the pocket. And what was that? It's because a guy tried to knife inside because he thought he had an inside edge on a tackle. But you realize Justin Fields is a mobile quarterback. He can run. Jared Goff is not that guy. So you can get a little bit more tricky with that. But that's another assignment where you have to be focused on your assignments and not lose guys in the process.
Well,
and that's why I'm sorry, Missy.
No, go ahead.
Okay, that's why the two inside linebackers, these are guys that need to really step up. Look, I know Joe Schobert has been steady. He maybe not spectacular, obviously, but Devin Bush, and I don't want to be hypercritical, but this is a young man who's gifted with a lot of attributes. I mean, when you call him the unicorn, I mean, that says something about your athleticism and your ability. And we've not seen him recapture the mogenation yet of his pre-knee injury form. And that would be nice to step up and be part of that with Cam Hayward, with T.J. Watt, and even Alex Highsmith is a guy that I know he's going to be contributing more. You can see it. There's a lot of times you see Alex gets close, but what he does is he'll make the quarterback tuck the ball and move in the pocket. Sometimes that's not enough. We want the sacks, we want the hits, but that's at least getting in the eyesight line of the quarterback. But the inside linebackers, especially this week, with, like Max said, with the tight end and the running back, both the two leading receivers on the team, they're going to have to step up and really play well this weekend.
All right, guys, the 0-8 Lions coming to face the 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Matchup Show. We'll see everybody back here next week.
What's up, Steelers Nation? It's TJ Watt. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers official YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on everything going on in the Steel City. Thank you for being the best fans in football. Here we go.